If you're thinking of getting the Elektron model cycles, or if you already have one and are not sure how you feel about it, in this video I'm going to give you a review of my experience after having the Elektron model cycles for one entire year. Ready, set, let's go. Hey, it's me, Sky Deep, and I'm a musician, multimedia artist, and VR enthusiast, plus lover of community, so thank you for being here. I make videos about music production and what it's like to have fun while producing music, or in between time, just making sure you let off a little bit of steam, maybe in VR. Anyway, if you're thinking about getting the Elektron model cycles, then you definitely should watch this video. I'm going to talk to you about what I thought I would use it for, or how I thought I would use it, and what actually ended up happening down the road. And I'm also going to give you what I feel the pros and the cons are, and then I'll give you my final conclusion in the end. So I was looking for something, a groovebox to bridge the gap when I'm performing a live electronic set, when my MPC is full and maybe I need to switch sessions, or maybe I just want a different sound and I want to stop working with one set of gear and then move over, to a different sound or a different energy. I needed a machine that I could do that with, so that I wasn't only stuck in one direction. I had been going back and forth between Ableton Live and my MPC Live, but I wanted the chance that if I didn't want to have a computer at all, that I could still use only hardware going back and forth. So I started to look at the Elektron model cycles. Now, I had never owned any type of Elektron instrument before, so this was definitely new. I had to learn a whole new workflow. So what did I do? I watched lots of YouTube videos, learning about the machine even before I bought it. And finally, I decided to get it. It just seemed really interesting and a lot of fun. Guess what? It is so much fun. After having it a very short while, I was just having so much fun and getting so much inspiration, improvising, working with this machine in just a sketch jam situation. I will say that it got a little bit tricky when I started to try and work it into my live performance setup. So maybe that's a good segue for me to go straight into the pros about this groovebox. One of the biggest benefits of having the Elektron model cycles is that it's so much fun to jam with. Like, as a musician, I play guitar and I like to play live percussion, like finger drumming and things like that, or singing. And so the fun thing about this box is that I always feel like I'm playing an actual instrument. Another thing that I really love about the model cycles is that there's an incredible online community of people who are always willing to give advice or, give you a pat on the back for a cool jam you just did. I belong to a couple of Facebook groups and it's really cool. Which leads me to the next step about the community is that there are some people out there who, are doing some pretty insane sound design that are very familiar with FM synthesis and have created sound packs and that are sharing them. It's really good for inspiration, and usually when I'm jamming with it, I'm sort of spinning off of sounds anyways, like maybe the factory sounds, and maybe I tweak them and I change them into something totally new during the course of the actual live jam. Every time I play, the sounds morph. Another benefit is that it does have 6 channels. I mean, it's a 6-channel groovebox, and this gives you a lot to play with. I mean, sure, would it be nice to have 8? Okay, yeah, maybe. But even with just the 6, another one of the pros is that there's these parameter locks that you can do per step that allows you to completely change the sound or the effects each one of the steps that you do in there. So that's a lot of fun. So once you get past the learning curve of figuring out Elektron workflow, then you can really expand on it and get a big bang out of this box. I'm going to get to some of the cons now. There are many, many more pros, but with the cons, I will say that after a while, you might get a little tired of some of the sounds. If you're not a professional FM synthesis person, it's not that easy to just completely create something original when it comes to the actual patches. But I will say this, with just about any synth that lives out there, they all kind of have their signature sound. So I'm okay with having this signature sound of the model cycles. That's what makes it. So another con would be that out of all the automations that you can record and lock in, the one thing that you have a very difficult time or almost can't do is automate the pan function. And so that can feel very limiting when you want to get more of a panorama type sound in your audio. There are some workarounds, and I'm going to come back to you with a video about a few of these workarounds. One of the biggest disadvantages of this box, and I probably should name it first, is the fact that it does only have a left and a right or a 2-channel output. What this means is that if you are recording sounds that you would really like to have a stereo feel to, then you have to record each individual track one by one. And if you would like to use the onboard parameters where you can like really switch things up like you do when you jam and mangle the sound, then you would almost have to remember how you did it each time and record it 6 individual times into a DAW and then kind of mesh it together. And so I have a lot of frustration with that because something that is a pro is also a con. So it's a pro that I can do a select all and I can mangle all of the tracks all at once. I can change the pitch or the color, or I can add reverb to everything all at one time, and then easily switch it back to the original settings that I had with just a push of a couple of buttons. That's so amazing. But if I wanted to record that performance, then I would have to record all the tracks all at the same time as one stereo file. But what happens when I really want to have separated tracks so that I can do a proper mix down in production later? Well, yeah, I'm out of luck there. I'm going to have to figure something else out. I'll also, coming soon, I'll also do a video showing you that process. It's a bit tedious, but either way, it's a good sounding box and it's a great starting point for inspiration. Another disadvantage I would say is that in the context of my particular live performance setup, when I'm combining the Elektron model cycles with my other gear, is that somehow it just doesn't quite measure up to the power that I get from my other sequencers, say like the MPC Live, or if I'm playing it alongside Ableton Live. I can't use the Elektron model cycles as its own standalone self in a way that blends evenly or blends smoothly with my other devices. So what I mean is if I'm using the Elektron model cycles as both my drums and my synth sounds and a bit of bass, and that's all one track, one piece, and then I want to blend it with my other machines, which are all containing their own piece as a standalone, somehow the model cycles always needs an extra boost. It's like I would definitely need to have a dedicated compressor and EQ and effects on the output of that machine in order to sort of balance it out to blend well with the others. What I also found was that a workaround for that is it's actually quite nice to be able to work with this box with a focus on a certain type of sound palette. So for example, if I'm using it only for my drum sounds and not for also synth and bass, and I'm blending that in with some other tracks, like maybe I'm just using the hi-hats for a little while or kick drums, then it tends to work really well. But I found mostly that when I'm jamming with it, I have the most fun. And if I'm going to use it in production, I usually only use certain elements from it. And then I really do a lot more design behind the way it sounds inside of Ableton Live or in connection with layering it with other sounds from my other machines. So in conclusion, I would say overall, this box is totally worth it. If you're thinking about getting this machine, get it. I mean, how incredible is it that I can easily take this thing and throw it in my smallest of backpacks and take it anywhere with me without any concern for space. And then I can just easily whip it out. It doesn't take up much space on the table, but I can connect it via USB to my computer and record. If you're into audio production and various techniques, then I'm here to share some of my techniques with you. So do subscribe and write something down in the comments and let me know how you use your Elektron model cycles or how you think you might use it once you get it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next round.